Hey everybody, how's it going? This is JBH. So this is my first video I'm formally posting to YouTube. I've been thinking about doing something like this for a minute, and it's going to be like super off the cuff. It's not scripted in any way, shape, or form, which you'll come to find out. Basically, I've been wanting to do like a series on talking about vinyl I own or vinyl I'm looking into getting or just music in general. I've been wanting to do something like this for a minute. I've been really inspired by channels like Sea of Tranquility and just it seems like a really fun thing to do. And I've been wanting to do it for a minute because I love talking about music and I love recommending new music and um, yeah, so that's the spiel basically. But today, as you'll see in the title for the video, this is my PROGBOX, which is basically what I'm doing with this is I have most of the vinyl records I own right now are of the prog rock vein, either classic or modern or whatever. It's my favorite kind of music to listen to, and it's my favorite kind of music to collect. And basically, hold on just a second, let me fix this. Basically, I've been wanting to do something like just kind of going through what I have in the box or recent finds that I just put in there or whatever. So I have a nice stack of records, and kind of the theme I went for today was records that I had picked up recently or had ordered recently. I have quite a few here. I haven't heard all of them yet, and I haven't spun all these yet, but basically I just want to show the records off and say a little bit about them if I know them, or just kind of give like a basic, you know, idea of what they are if you don't know what they are. Although I assume if you clicked on this video, you probably either know about these records or are interested in these records or, you know, something along those lines. But anyway, I want to go ahead and get started. So this first record that I'm going to talk about is Gentle Giant's Freehand. Ooh, that glare. Hang on, let me take it out of the take it out of this guy. See if that's a little better. It's a little bit better, but there you go. You can get a good view of it now. Gentle Giant's Freehands. So Gentle Giant is a prog rock band from the 70s. Again, I'm not probably not going to go too much into like the members or whatever, but I'll do that later on if I decide to do like an album series or something like that with them. But basically what you need to know is Gentle Giant probably is like the cult band when it comes to prog. Like they are like they've always been considered, I guess, in popular terms, like a tier below like all the heavy hitters like Yes, Genesis, and King Crimson, and Jethro Tull, and et cetera, et cetera. But this band could probably honestly like play around all of those artists if they really wanted to. They were incredible, incredible musicians, and this is easily my favorite album from them. I mean, it's just unbelievably stacked. I mean, I will say though too, they have like an absolutely insane run, like from their first album all the way to what people might say is their last great album. I guess I consider it to be Interview. Which was it the one after this one? I want to say Interview was after Freehand. I'd have to look it up again. Like I said, sorry, off the cuff. But the stuff on this album is absolutely incredible. I mean, it starts off with Just the Same, which is my favorite opener from them. And then one of my favorite songs from them ever is the title track, Freehand. Like I said, it's just an absolutely stacked album. It's probably their most accessible too. Like I'd say, if you want to start anywhere with Gentle Giant, it would definitely be Freehand, and I highly recommend it. And I'm really, really happy to finally have this in my collection because I've been wanting to get Gentle Giant albums, and they're not super easy to come by for affordable prices, I guess. But they did just reissue their first few. I think it was their debut album, Acquiring the Taste. What were the other ones? Octopus, Three Friends, and I think that's it. I think those are the only albums they recently re-released on vinyl. But I managed to get this on Discogs, and I'm really, really happy to finally have it in my collection. And I haven't spun it yet, but I'm going to get to that. That's kind of another thing about this is like these are all records that I plan on spinning pretty soon. Speaking of which, the next album I'm going to talk about is Anthony Phillips' The Geese and the Ghost, which I actually heard for the first time this morning. I love the artwork on this album. It's just gorgeous. Um, so, just to give an idea of who Anthony Phillips is, he was the original Genesis guitarist and left before they hit their really major mainstream breakthrough, I guess. I believe it was in Nursery Crime when they kind of got real big, and that's when like Phil Collins came into the mold and Steve Hackett, and they just blew up after that basically. But this album is a very gorgeous, like absolutely gorgeous folk record, progressive folk record. It's very light on the ears. It's absolutely beautiful. Like it's one of the most pretty prog records I've ever heard in my life. This and Harmoniums. I can't say the title of it, but it's there's a French Canadian prog band called Harmonium that also have a prog record, which is very folky, not much in the way of drums. It's very focused on acoustic instrumentation, and this one's the same way. It is just so well played. Phil Collins appears on a couple tracks, and his voice is incredible on the tracks he sings on, and it's I listened to it this morning because I had a feeling like this is going to be a great morning record, and so I literally just like I have a chair in here that I like. It's a folding chair that I like to fold out and just lay back and listen to my records in, and this album just was an amazing morning listen. It put me in such a great mood for the day. I can't recommend if you're looking for something that's like really loud in the ears, really calming. This is it. This album is amazing, and it's easily one of my favorites that I have in my collection now, and I highly recommend it. I got it. There's a store there's a bookstore we have here that has all kinds of stuff there, and I got it there for 95 cents, and I thought it was because it might be super scratched or, it might not play very well or something, and it sounded fantastic when I got it, so I feel like I absolutely stole this. I need to look it up and see how much it's really worth. I'm not really sure, but absolutely, absolutely adored that record this morning. And in the same vein, there's a place I actually want to go ahead and shout out real quick where I live called St. Pete's Records. I went there for the first time yesterday, and I actually went again today because I had some stuff that I told them to put on hold for me. It's the only record store I've been to around here where I live where they have everything all sectioned out, and like if in the rock section they have everything sectioned out by subgenre. Like they have a psychedelic section, they have a folk section, and they had a prog section, which of course I made a beeline for when I saw it. And one thing I was really excited to see yesterday when I went was they actually had a copy of the album after The Geese and the Ghosts that Anthony Phillips made called Why Is After the Event. Now, I actually haven't heard this yet, but this was after I finished recording this. I was actually planning on spinning this next to kind of just like, I guess, go on the next tier after this one. From what I've seen of it, I haven't heard a note off this yet. From what I have seen about it, it seems to be more focused on like the rock side of progressive rock. When I looked it up on Rate Your Music, they said it said mainly progressive rock and some progressive folk. But I'm really excited to hear that because I also saw that Michael Giles from King Crimson played drums on this, and I'm just really excited to hear how Anthony and him play together. And there's plenty of other great musicians on here too. Some I know, some I don't. But I don't have much to say on this one, like I said, because I haven't heard it yet. I've been considering maybe just after listening to this, maybe the next thing I'll film will be kind of like a duology review of these two Anthony Phillips records, just to because right now that's what I'm really big on ever since I heard Geese this morning. But yeah, Why Is It the Event? I got at St. Pete's today because I saw it yesterday, and I knew I was going to come back tomorrow to pick up another record I'd put on hold, and so I decided to grab this while I was there. And the next record that I was going to show today was another one I got from St. Pete's, and I got this yesterday. I'm pretty sure, actually, the next There's only one more record in the stack that I didn't get from St. Pete's. Um, so I mean, like I said, I'm really shouting them out in this video. They have a great selection, and like I said, I put the card up there. They have a website that has all the records they have in stock, I believe, and you can just and they ship. So you should definitely check that out when you get the chance. But the next record I got was actually one I had heard fairly recently, and that is Todd Rundgren's Utopia, which is Todd Rundgren. He's a very eclectic person in music in general. He's kind of known more for his pop rock stuff. I mean, he's a great vocalist. He's an amazing singer. But in the '70s, he got really deep into prog, and he actually formed his own little prog, very jazz fusion esque band called Utopia. This album is actually recorded. It's like a live slash studio album. I think it's like a live album with like some studio trickery, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it says it was recorded at the Fox Theater in Atlanta. And I don't know. I mean, I just did not expect because I had heard. I believe it's Something Anything is the name of the album. It's the first Todd album that I'd heard, and it doesn't sound like this at all. Like it's like a kind of eclectic pop rock album, but this is just like blistering like fusion style prog. It's amazing. Everybody's like firing on all cylinders. I mean, the last song on here is I want to say it's like over 30 minutes long, called The Icon. It's just unreal. It's an unreal album, especially if you've heard anything else that Todd's done. Like if you've heard like anything outside of Utopia, or I think he's even done a couple of prog records just under his own name outside of Utopia. Maybe I'm not super well versed in Todd's discography, but I've heard this. I've heard Wizard of Star, I believe is the name of the album. I've heard that, and like I said, Something Anything, and his acapella record, which is another wild one, which I'm going to get a copy of that, and I'll get into that later on. But basically, he made this record where he just recorded his voice into a keyboard, and that's the whole entire album. But regardless of that, Utopia is incredible. It's probably my favorite. If I was talking to people at the record store about this album, and they were saying this is their favorite thing that Todd ever did too. Highly recommend checking this out, especially if you know Todd Rundgren and you haven't heard this yet. It's an absolute whirlwind. So yeah, 100% recommend that. The next one is another St. Pete's. I got it yesterday as well, along with this. It's the live album from Supertramp that I also heard some of recently. I haven't finished the entire thing yet, but I had heard it, and I've been kind of getting into more live albums recently. I haven't heard too many. I'm really big on King Crimson's USA, and I've heard some of Genesis Live and stuff like that, but I'm kind of just now getting into the live album side of things, and I got Supertramp's Paris. I heard this and was just absolutely like dumbfounded. I loved it because I've always loved Supertramp anyway, like Crime of the Century. Crime of the Century and Breakfast in America. I just absolutely adore both of those albums, and there's stuff from both on here, and it's some of my favorite. Like a couple of these are my favorite versions. Like the version of Bloody Well Right on here is incredible, and this version of Breakfast in America, I think I actually might like more than the studio version. It's fantastic. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like it's Supertramp at their peak. Just like playing some absolutely amazing versions of some of their classic songs, and this is the first one with a gatefold of just them walking. But yeah, just as far as prog live albums go that I've heard, really enjoyed this one, and can't wait to start getting some more of these because buying these vinyl has given me a reason to start listening to more of these albums I haven't really heard or haven't really caught up on. But yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing the rest of this because I believe I've only heard side one and like half of side two. I haven't really heard the full thing yet, but I'm really looking forward to listening to the rest of it now that I have a physical vinyl copy of it. The next one I got is the only album I've actually heard from this band, which is going to be a crying shame to some people who know who this band is, because I mean this is one of the bands as far as prog goes in the '70s. I mean a lot of people consider them to be like one of the most consistent bands of their time, and that would be Renaissance, A Turn of the Cards. It's I really the only reason I heard this one first and not like Ashes Are Burning, because I know that's the one that everybody says to hear, and I haven't heard it yet. Um, excuse me. Um, the only reason I haven't heard the other ones yet is just because I haven't gotten around to them. I have a massive backlog of stuff I need to hear, but basically Renaissance is just an amazing symphonic prog band. Based on just this album alone, I was in love with this because it's not like a lot of other stuff I'd heard before. For one, they have a female. Their lead vocalist is a female, and her name is Annie Haslam. And there's plenty of women in prog, but like especially nowadays. But like the fact that in the '70s, it's actually like I haven't heard very many female singers in it, and I was blown away by her voice. And I'm sure for some, her voice may be an acquired taste, but I fell in love with it instantly. Like it's almost like another instrument at some points. I'm trying to think. There's things I don't understand. That song in particular, like she has this vocal run that she's singing that almost sounds like it should be like a synth part instead of just her singing it. It's I don't know, man. Like I'm kind of kicking myself for not listening to more of them after hearing this album, because I mean this is a 5 out of 5. Like this is one of those albums where I was like, holy crap, why did it take me so long to listen to that? Like it's so amazing. And again, like pretty much all the other ones here, except for any of the ones I haven't heard all the way through, I guess, a high recommendation. And I promise, if anybody sees this and starts giving me crap for not listening to any of the other ones, I know there's another one. I think it's the one after this one. This is the one that everybody also says is amazing. But Ashes Are Burning is my next one. I will get to it eventually at some point. But yeah, it's Turn of the Cards. Just for a first impression is one heck of a first impression. It's incredible. All right, so we're coming up on the home stretch here. I only have 4 more records to talk about. And this is the only other one that I didn't get at St. Pete's. I ordered this off of Relapse Records website. It is a reissue of Death's The Sound of Perseverance. It's an absolute progressive death metal masterpiece. Death is kind of the band that got me into death metal. I heard Leprosy, and that was it. Like I was all in after I finally heard that for the first time on a trip to Nashville, and after that, I kind of found out about their progression from there. Like they started getting way more technical on their album Human. And then they kind of worked their way up, and this is their final record, which is it's super melodic, it's super technical, it's just absolutely on fire playing from Chuck Schuldiner and company here. It's the Gatefold, it's the guys in the band at the time, and like I said, sorry I'm not really shouting out the names of members very much. I'm really bad with remembering band member names. But this is also the only one where like I feel really keen to show off the actual record itself. I think out of all the things I've shown, this is the only other one that I feel like is really worth showing. It's like this butterfly splatter of red and orange. It's just absolutely amazing. Again, I'm still kind of new to the whole vinyl thing, so like if if you see me holding it in a weird way, like like if this is not the way to hold it, like just let me know, because I don't want to be messing anything up. But I think I'm holding it right. Anyway, yeah, just absolutely gorgeous record. I have not spun this one yet either. Looking forward to doing that here soon. But yeah, I heard it all the way through for the first time probably about a month or 2 ago, and yeah, I can definitely see why. It's one of the greatest. A lot of people consider it one of the greatest farewell albums in metal, and of course, we lost Chuck too soon. Man, that guy this guy was like batting 100. Man, this dude was just making classic after classic after classic. I don't know if anything that Chuck played on was bad. I don't know, because everything I've heard him on is amazing. Control Denied was another one I heard recently, which was, I think, the last album he was on. That wasn't a Death album. I could be wrong about that, but it was an absolutely great album too. But yeah, Death Sound of Perseverance, prog death classic. All right, coming up here we have Styx's Paradise Theater. I actually had this some time back, and I ended up selling it, and that was stupid. I don't know why I sold it, because, I mean, Styx is one of those bands that, like, I feel like it always gets a tag placed on them. Like, they're one of those bands that were big in the 70s. It's like, you know, Mr. Roboto and stuff like that. Kilroy was here. They kind of get a bad rep for stuff like that, but when they hit, they absolutely hit. And I think this is one of those records where they hit. All the stuff on here is so catchy and so memorable. And, Too Much Time on My Hands is like one of the big hits on here. And I absolutely adore that song. And, this is one of those records I think you could look at and be like, is that prog? I don't. But, I mean, I think it fits for me. And I actually like how it opens up, too. It's like it opens up from top to bottom instead of side to side. It's the band members and liner notes and lyrics and all that. Yeah, I absolutely love Paradise Theater. I like also how it's double sided. I don't know, man. Like I think Styx is super underappreciated for all the amazing stuff they did. I understand they have some corny stuff, and not everything's going to hit. Like, and I think that's for a lot of '70s prog bands. They had some some crap here and there, but this is an amazing album, and I need to listen to more Styx. I've only heard Paradise Theater and Pieces of Eight. Those are the only two albums I've heard from them, and I've loved them both. And I kind of want to go back and listen to some of their more classic stuff. All right. The second to last album I'm going to show today, I have Saga's Worlds Apart. This is another band I had only heard for the first time last night, actually, because I saw they had this at St. Pete's yesterday, and I was like, Saga's a band I know I need to listen to. I mentioned Sea of Tranquility as a channel earlier. Shout out to them. Pete Pardo on there talks about Saga a lot whenever they do their Tuesday night prog show, and I had been meaning to listen to them for a while, and I finally listened to their debut last night, and it was so good. Like, it's so good, and it like was one of those things where when I heard it, I was kind of like, why does nobody ever talk about this? Just absolutely just freaking on fire stuff. That first song on there, How Long, on their debut is just amazing. Like, I was sold from like the first few minutes of the album. It was just like, oh, I'm listening to the whole thing. Like, this is so good. I actually haven't heard this yet, though. Funnily enough, I haven't heard this yet, but I saw it, like I said, at the record store yesterday, and so I went back today and I picked it up, and looking forward to listening to that. But 100%, I recommend going to listen to that debut record. It's just fantastic, like from front to back. Absolutely loved it. All right, the last album I'm going to talk about today is kind of what some people would consider maybe a proto-prog album, or one of the first. I kind of consider it to be one of like the first prog albums, like based on the research I've done and the stuff I've listened to. Like, I consider it to be like one of the first like albums that you could consider a progressive rock album. And this sleeve is beat up, but I saw it too, and I was really pumped to see this because I didn't think I would ever be able to find this out in the wild. This is an album I actually put on hold when I went there yesterday because I was like, hey, I'll actually have more money tomorrow to get a couple of these records. And I had it on hold, and I decided today was the day I was going to pick it up. I have a couple more on hold that I'm going to talk about at a later date when I get them. I'm really excited about that. But what this is The Nice. It's I keep forgetting The Thoughts of Emerless Davjak. If you don't know who, mirror images. Our man Keith Emerson, right there from Emerson, Lake and Palmer. This was his, as far as I know, this was his first band. Maybe not his first band, but the first band I think of real note for where he would go. Obviously, because he became a part of like one of the biggest prog bands ever. I haven't heard the entirety of this album, but I've heard the majority of it, and I was blown away when I heard it, especially for the time because I think it came out in like 1960. Um, excuse me. I think it came out in. Okay, so this is actually a. It was like a reissue, but I believe it came out in like 68 or 67. Very early, like very much in the infancy of probably before In the Court of the Crimson King, like stuff. And I heard this and I was floored by how like ahead of the curve it was, like years before, prog would be like the thing for a while. Um, there's a song on here. I think it's Bonnie K. Yeah, Bonnie K, I believe is what it is. It's been a minute since I heard this, but when I heard it, I was just so unbelievably dumbfounded. Again, I keep using that word, dumbfounded, because it was just like, wow, this is another one. Like, I don't hear these guys talked about very much unless you watch like prog documentaries. They always like to mention the Knives, but like I don't hear a lot of people really talking about the Knives as like a high major stepping stone. Maybe I'm in the wrong circles. I don't know, but like when I heard it, I was like, yeah, this is easily like if you had like a few albums to pick from who like would like prog before prog, like this is it. Like Emmerle's Jack is it. So 100%. Um, Go check this out if you want to hear like prog in its infancy, because like it's pretty wild to listen to, especially if you're a fan of the genre and you haven't heard this yet. Um, Highly recommend giving it a shot. And that will do it for the day. Really long-winded. I know, like I said, I'm going to listen back to this and maybe like, I don't know how I feel about me being on a camera and talking about stuff, but I know. Hopefully, this is entertaining to somebody. I really like I said, I really like talking about music, and I've been wanting to do it for a minute, and it's really cool that you know I was inspired to do it from seeing other content creators on YouTube, just kind of off the cuff. This is what I got, and saying a few words about it or whatever. So I plan on doing this again. Like I said, go back. I mean, again, St. Pete's Records. I'm going to be going there like probably here on a weekly basis and just getting more records. And I also already have quite a few prog records. I still have a very small starting. I have a pretty small collection at the moment, but I plan on talking about more than just prog. But that's mostly what you're going to hear out of me on this channel because, like I said, it's my favorite stuff to listen to. It's my favorite stuff to collect. But like I said, this is only the first volume of stuff I'm going to be doing for the PROGBOX is what I'm going to call this, because that's what I call the box I have these in anyway. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. You know, like and subscribe and all that. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing this again. I hope you got some good recommendations out of this, and I really hope you guys all have a great day. And yeah, happy listening.